Pierre, thank you very much for joining me today. Let's get straight into it. Should pharma companies become healthcare providers?
Should pharma companies become healthcare providers? Well, that's an interesting question. Pharma companies are already providing a part of the care procurement equation. From the financial perspective, they're not interested in moving too close to care procurement because of the very thin margins that characterize this segment. Now, would there be a benefit in doing so? You're seeing this with actually one company which is now fully vertically integrated. It's Fresenius. They operate their own dialysis clinics and provide the products and the equipment. And they generate a lot of insights from operating close to the patients. So is there some kind of value that the other companies might want to emulate? Yeah, why not? Actually, that might be certainly worth exploring, or maybe partnering to get there.
Okay, so you believe that they should at least be involved in the entire vertical chain?
Well, if they're not involved, then they take the risk of being completely cornered, provide only a part of the solution, which is the product, and considering that they're capitalizing on patient data which are coming from not naturalistic conditions, clinical trials, the role that they will play going forward is potentially shrinking if they're not getting close to the real world.
But healthcare is full of multiple stakeholders, and with the exception of the patient perhaps, nobody's really taking a fully fledged role in any in the entire equation. So does pharma companies not need to sort of know their place and stick to it, or do you feel like they should be as broad as possible?
Well, I think they know their place. They know their place, but the kind of questions that the authorities and the payers are asking the industry are by nature and by definition broader than what the industry is working on through clinical trials, because increasingly when the industry commits itself to deliver certain outcomes, it actually has to come up with evidence which is coming from outside of its, I would say, standard operating model, which is the controlled clinical trial model. And they have to partner to access patient registries, to access databases, which tend to be owned or managed by providers or payers. So the regulatory and market access trend is already pushing the industry in this direction.
So let's just talk about, on a practical level, the patient-pharma relationship, something which hardly existed 10 years ago even, but now is obviously a huge talking point. Where do you sort of draw the line in terms of pharma's involvement in terms of direct intervention with patients?
Well, I've personally been involved in very different situations depending on the market segments. When you're in relatively rare diseases or specialty care, you tend to be close to the patients. When you're in vaccines, you're very close to the patients. I don't think that there should be a line drawn there. The real question is, how far should the industry use its resources to, number one, contribute to solidifying its value proposition, because that's part of what the payers and the authorities are asking for, but also how far should it invest to retain its role, its seat at the table. It's almost an element of corporate social responsibility.